Hello, everybody. Coach Jay Ridgway here. Excited to bring the latest edition of the Endurance Life 360 podcast. I'm excited to bring on for the second time Coach Bertrand Newsome, good close friend, pure coach, phenomenal following in his world, and always exciting to catch up with him because he always has a lot going on. So, Coach, welcome back to the program. How are you doing?
Thank you, Coach Jay, and Happy New Year, Endurance 360 team. Happy to be here. Another year in the books and looking forward to 2024 to hit the ground running, cycling, swimming, and everything else in between. So, yeah.
Excited to have you here. Yeah, speaking of that, hitting the ground running, I mean, let's just dive right in. Yeah, you literally just got back from some location and making us all, putting us all to shame here. Some of us that haven't gotten a race under your belt. What did you end up just coming back from, Coach?
Oh, thanks for the ask. Myself and Coach Rebecca had the good fortune of traveling to Texas and participating in the 2024 Houston Marathon. First time in that event for both of us. And for someone who's an avid runner, who loves the distance, and now both of you and I being on the event production side, I
Yeah,
have to give that race like 5 stars
I've heard
because
nothing but great. Yeah, I've
they
heard nothing but great
they
feedback on
hit the
that.
mark, man.
Yeah.
Even with things that you can't control, they cannot control the weather. Can't.
What was the
Um,
weather? What was the
it
weather?
was chilly. No, admittedly, it was a little cold. Colder
Whoa,
on the
what does
day of
that mean? What does
departure.
that mean? It's like chilly at
It
like 40
means so.
degrees or freezing.
Started with gun time, 35, 36 degrees.
That's cold.
Yeah, that's chilly.
Yeah.
But we had a blast from start to finish. The good fortune of meeting a client athlete, now a friend who I've worked with over a year in
Yeah.
James. So he was a fantastic tour guide, lots of fantastic fellowship. But that race itself, great experience from start to finish. They offered a 5K on Saturday and a half marathon and marathon on Sunday. Close to 30,000 participants between the weekend. The
Yeah.
expo, well organized,
Love it.
uh, great swag,
Yeah.
and the finishing area as you finish inside the Houston, there's an expo. So finishing shoot, and then you make your way indoors. And the one really cool thing, and there were several, there were volunteers lining both sides as you enter the expo hall, and we were part of like back of the pack, bringing up the rear of that marathon. So they had been out there all day long. They made you feel like you won the race. So like almost standing ovation, a nice lift of the spirits for all race participants, half marathon or marathon, coming into that um, expo finishing hall was just fantastic. And they had hot breakfast, eggs, bacon, biscuits,
What?
coffee, hot chocolate for everybody, like a
Wow.
VIP experience for every single runner and seating for all as well. And again, we're in that last wave of finishers. So those people have been on their feet all day long. You would never know it by the interaction you had with the volunteers. So hats off to the Houston Marathon team.
All right. You sold me on that. That's a must do in the future. Must
Yeah.
do. Yeah. And obviously taking notes from you on the feedback there. That sounds amazing. I mean, whatever happened to the old orange slices in a bottle of water, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for racing. Have a great day. Um, cool. Well, we always have to have a sort of a theme of, I mean, because you and I, we talked about before I press record here, we could talk about a million things and literally for hours on end, but the audience being sensitive to that, I think you and I, um, two old coaches catching up, also friends there, but we have to have a purpose to this. And so one of the things I want to talk about, it's January 18th today. And one of the things that's always a challenge is, 25-year experienced coach, right? Is, athletes, including myself, you take the time off in the holidays, unless you have an early season race. Most of us, 90% of us who are endurance athletes, you go in the holidays, whether you race something like in early December, let's talk about, our audience probably is in the Northern California, Northern Nevada region, California International Marathon from the running standpoint is usually that early season event. As soon as you're done with that, beauty is you go right into recovery, and that takes you into the holidays, which typically, if we do it right, um, you get a little bit less fit and you probably get a little bit more gained on the scale. And so one of the challenges that I see is that, with Martin Luther King holiday in mid-January, and sometimes how these school schedules are with kids, because parents have to adjust to the kids' schedules, right? Really, the holidays extend through mid-January, in my opinion, before people need to come out of that, getting on a normal regimented routine and trying to reignite the fire to train and race again. And so I wanted to pick your brain and just share resources on folks that are listening on here. What are the things that you've done with the Two Legit team? Because you talked about Coach Rebecca, right? You guys have a massive team in my hometown of San Jose. What are some of the creative things that you're doing, or have you just continued business as usual through the holidays? What have you guys done to kick off the new year?
Excellent question, Coach Jay. Let's see here. Everybody who, active athletes, endurance athletes, whether you're training for a 5K up to marathon, ultra marathon, triathlon, and duathlons, when you get to the end of the year, sometimes there can be workout fatigue. And I think we both do encourage, as you get into the fourth quarter, at some point, if you've had your A race, whether that be a half marathon, triathlon, to take some time off. Now, the length of that time off depends on maybe goals and objectives for the next training cycle, but allowing the mind to reset above and beyond the body as well. So you asked the question, what are some things that we have done with Two Legit Fitness in keeping athletes engaged and active, gearing up for the new year? One, we've partnered with Coach Melissa Yamashita, who's a nutritionist, active endurance athlete, and a January challenge that is not geared towards workout specific activity. Go and run X amount, go cycle X amount. It is more focused in regards to habit tracking. What are some things we can do in building good habits that can roll up into when we start to engage a training block that may happen at some point in Q1 of 24? But as simple as X amount of ounces of water per day, half your body weight in ounces drink per day, disengaging from social media devices an hour before bedtime, reading 20 minutes of nonfiction per day, reaching out to 3 people and giving them some kind words of encouragement and not be generic about it, be intentional about it. So Coach Melissa had listed out upwards of 10 habits, and then it was for the participants to commit to these habits, and where it eventually, when we do start to lean into a structured training program, that the habits we have built, because it's tough for some of us,
Absolutely.
especially,
Yep.
and gearing up for a training block on January 1st can be daunting for some people, but being able to do things that we may not have otherwise from a habit perspective, and giving people a menu of habits that are relevant to them, it's been fun to do. I will say, drinking for me over 100 ounces of water has been a challenging task, and being able to report back on it. So, Coach, that if you ask somebody to do something in a training capacity, if there's no circle back, if there's no level of accountability, then it's just not going to happen. So what I love about this particular challenge is Coach Melissa is asking the participants to self-report and then show who is or who isn't. And it's not putting anybody on blast or in the spotlight. It is a level of accountability in helping us adopt the habits versus always being tasked out outcome driven. I want to be faster. I want to weigh this amount in scale weight.
Yeah.
But it's what are the day-to-day choices we're making from a habit perspective. They're going to get us that end result. So I'm really enjoying this challenge. And that's one way we've looked to engage our athletes, our running community, and tuning up for an eventual training block, whether that be first quarter. And if there are some fun related races, like a lot, if you live here in Northern California, in San Francisco, typically there's the hot chocolate race.
Yep.
And it offers 5K, 10K, and 15K.
Yep.
That's an event that you don't have to get in half marathon or marathon training fitness time, but it does keep you honest enough if you're in a kind of off-season mode, something to look forward to start the year and hit the ground running as we make our way into 2024. So those are just a couple of examples.
Yeah, those are great examples, and I love the fact that you were able to do that with your team in January, coming out of the holidays, and not have it be, like you said before, a structured, what are your results of your training, right? And then we'll segue into the opposite of that, which is going into next month. But yeah, one of the things that just to share what I do, with my athletes and what I've done for years, I would obviously kind of put a little road bump in that. But the San Francisco Kaiser Permanente, formerly Home Depot, San Francisco Half Marathon, always the first Sunday of February. That's always been the benchmark for me and a lot of my athletes that have been with me, either new or been with me a long time. Is this, there's now 10K, 5K options now. There's been one or the other, and now they've got, the half marathon and then those options as well too. So I've got a number of athletes that I've been able to influence as a coach that are doing like the 10K option. Coach is going to go do the half marathon because that's tradition for me, but haven't had the chance and the opportunity since I moved away to do the hot chocolate run. But I had, I think, 4 or 5 athletes, very strong female contingent, by the way, and rightly so. But yeah, super excited to hear those initiatives. With that said, you're moving in, we're moving in, it's the back half of January. What do you have going on starting in February?
Uh, Excellent question, Coach Jay. Funny you should ask. Some of you who follow Coach Jay, he was a stellar participant in past years, coming especially in 2023, being part of the Taji 100 Challenge, TAJI 100.
I'm gonna
It's
share
a
this.
month
I'm gonna
long.
share the screen right now, Coach. I'm gonna
It's
share it.
it's it's a month-long challenge. And in this year, it's 29 days, which is pretty cool. So you get an extra day. And at its inception, which it started in 2010 at a army base in Iraq, Camp Taji. A army captain, Carol DePardo, was looking to improve troop morale. So she challenged all of the subordinates by foot, run, walk, then even treadmill within the base to log 100 miles within that given month,
So cool.
with the intent on improving troop morale. February being the shortest month of the year, it's
Yep.
also Heart Health Month. And a good friend of mine um, was part of that initial challenge, and he brought it stateside in 2011, and it's progressively grown. In 2012 was my first year, fortunately participating, and at that point there were probably maybe 200 participants in a simple GoDaddy website and maybe an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
And in 2013, just kind of talk about the progression of the event,
Yep.
we elected to form kind of a board of advisory board and partnered with the Wounded Warrior Project. So that was the first year there was a fundraising component, and not again the at the inception at year one 2010 there was no pay in. It was all just committing to the challenge, buying into the mission,
Yep.
investing in yourself from a physical and more importantly mental health awareness. And
Yep.
we've always kept that free option. People can absolutely sign up and participate and not have to make feel obligated to make a donation. And we've changed charity partners. I'll talk a little bit about that.
Cool. Yeah, please
um,
do.
but we still, I mean, we had over 3,500 participants who were in the challenge that elected to do it for their own health and wellness, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
2023 was our best year ever. We had participants in all 50 states and military bases, U.S. military bases across the world. Um, Almost 1 million miles logged, and our largest donation to our now charity partner Team RWB. And we're hoping to top that in 2024. And thank you, Coach Jay, for giving me the opportunity to share about it. And we've added the opportunity for athletes to do it not just by running, walking, hiking, jogging, elliptical, treadmill, but those multiple sport athletes or people who have maybe some physical challenges. You can row, you
Yeah.
can swim, you can
Love it.
bike, and it gives the opportunity for people again to challenge their let that inner athlete flourish. And looking at the time of the year, as Coach Jay and I reference, having your fitness goals start as of January 1st is tough for a lot of people.
Yep.
This gives us nice momentum coming out of January and into a month-long challenge in February with a compelling mission, knowing that each step that you take is towards a bigger goal. You have fellow teammates that are all in one way or another marching in the same direction and raising funds and awareness and investing in our mental and physical health. It's great habits that can help sustain you for the balance of the year into the future. And we've had some wonderful stories from people who, when they initially signed up, felt completely overwhelmed with the thought of 100 miles,
Yep.
okay, in 28 days. What are you talking about? But then understanding the mission and accepting the challenge and getting out on walks that they may not have done otherwise, involving friends and family members, having a level of accountability and purpose. It's been fantastic. And we have a very small advisory board. We do this out of labor of love. We send out thousands of swag packets across the United States and other parts of the world. We're based here in Northern California, but our reach has been fantastic. We absolutely love our new charity partner since 2016,
Yep.
Team RWB. The level of integration and support has been fantastic. And again, you can sign up at taji100.com and just participate and choose if it's a combination of run, swim, row, cycle, or commit to just one discipline. And if you are inclined to register and get a really cool medal, a performance tee, actually, this is more of a kind of a leisure, comfortable tee that you can wear while you're working out and also in your everyday life,
Yep.
and paying it forward, supporting military charities as part of your registration goes directly to Team RWB. We'd welcome that. So again, taji100.com.
Yeah, just to kind of add a little bit of color commentary to that, just you can form your own team, or you can join an existing team. So just for the audience that wasn't aware, I joined the Too Legit team last year, and boy, I was in for a rude awakening. There are some people on his team, coach included on that go all in on this, right? They take this thing seriously. They love doing it, and they're logging respectable amount of volumes, many of which exceeded the 100 miler, which was awesome. But it was just super fun to see those that have normal, everyday, busy lives, work, family, kids, things of that nature, but they were still hard bent, determined to get that 60% of completion to 67% completion to 70 to 80. And once you saw these people reach that 100% completion, it was super fun to see. Again, that was probably more of the internal Facebook page for To Legit team, but I was part of that. I was all in. I was super excited. I'm super excited to do it again. I guess a couple questions for you, Coach. Can I create a PacWest team, maybe using a different email address for me and my team, and then use a different address associated for Too Legit? Because I don't want to necessarily be double dipping here, but I want to be able, because I want to be part of your team because you guys have welcomed me with open arms. You haven't kicked me out yet, but I'm given time. At the same time too, obviously my athletes as well too. So it'd be fun if we were able to do that. That would be super cool.
Yes, you can register under two, but the challenge. So yes, you can, and we highly encourage you to create a Pac West endurance team. 100%.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. And we can work through the details if I'm violating some code. I don't need some green berets parachuting into my house and straightening me out, though. That would be super cool. Yeah. And there's a leaderboard, everybody. So within your team that you're in, you could see how your teammates are doing. It's super fun. Again, it's supposed to be a positive challenge, positive competition. But at the same time, too, there's also a national or actually, I'm sorry, global leaderboard as well, too. So you get to see what other people are doing, which is super exciting. So hopefully, if that piques anybody's interest, those of you that have had some success, especially like during COVID, We created some fitness challenges within Pac West. I know you guys did the same. A lot of athletes love that, especially during such a difficult time of isolation. This is another form of that, but it's extremely well structured now. The tool that's used to calculate and estimate a run versus what you do on cycling, because it's not in terms of the level of effort. There's a formula that's involved in that. Other things in terms of endurance events. I'm up in Reno, Nevada, Lake Tahoe. Cross country skiing can be correlated into that. Not downhill skiing, everybody. So get excited about that because you're going downhill with gravity, but cross country skiing, full body, head to toe workout regimen, phenomenal way to exercise and do all that stuff. So yeah, super cool. I think we've touched on anything else on that, Coach?
It's a great way to pay it forward and bring others along. And the mission is incredibly compelling. So, and I'm glad you referenced the team aspect. That's been the best part of it, is in
Yeah.
the sense of healthy competition.
Yep.
And all working towards one common goal.
Yeah, one final thing I meant to also mention is that, again, as Coach B is talking about, there's no obligation there's no registration, right? And the obligation to donate, even in small increments, is always there as part of your participation. And we obviously highly encourage that. And the red, white, and blue is what the RWB stands for, which is the colors of course, the United States of America flag. A phenomenal organization tied to the military. You may see some of those athletes out there at many races. They're wearing the RWB shirts and logo on their gear, and just super excited to be once again being part of that organization through this incredible event. So, well done, Coach. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's kind of talk about a little bit selfishly more towards you on, you made a pretty significant career decision last year. And you were extended an offer. I know I was involved in that discussion. And I think it was the right decision, but you got involved with an organization that is fairly well known, at least definitely in the Northern California community, but also has a global presence too. You want to talk a little bit about the role that you've taken on and the organization you're with?
Yes, I will, Coach. And I also want to thank you.
Oh boy.
That opportunity, candidly, to our listeners, would not have presented itself without the direct influence of Coach Jay. And what I mean by that is Coach has been a good friend of mine, but he's also been a mentor as well. He's helped guide me with career and personal decisions that have proven to be incredibly rewarding and successful, and opportunities continue to present themselves because of his presence in my life. So
You're saying I haven't screwed it up yet. I haven't screwed it up yet.
And what
Yeah,
Coach
no,
Jay
super proud of you, friend.
the
All
opportunity
well
that he's
earned. Just happy to be there for you.
thank
Happy
you.
to be there.
The opportunity he's referring to is with the Big Sur Marathon Foundation. They are the shepherds of the Big Sur International Marathon, the Monterey Bay Half Marathon, and a cross country series that happens in the late summer and early spring at the Palo Corona trail in Carmel Valley. I grew up on the Monterey Peninsula by way of Seaside, California. Seaside. And it's to go full circle to work for an organization that is tied to the area where I grew up. And in my role as the community engagement manager, where I'm tasked to help spread the mission of a healthy lifestyle, not just to interested adults that are looking to run Big Sur or in Monterey, but the youth. Being able to have the opportunity to speak at my elementary school, high school, to connect with local youth coaches and mentors, junior college individuals. It's been incredibly rewarding. I feel that it's the gift that keeps on giving. It feels like a fairy tale at times. It really does. And I still feel that there's more impact that my organization can make in the greater running community. One, we have a very captive audience for the marathon in April. The Big Sur International Marathon has been routinely rated as one of the top 5, 10 most desired and scenic marathons in the world.
Yep.
Last year, coming out of 2023's event, the marathon that is. We were voted the best marathon in California. We've had that designation on several occasions. There's some fantastic marathons that happen in our great state of California, so we're very fortunate of that. And to be able to emerge coming out of the pandemic stronger than ever before. I will say that 2023 was the most profitable and um, from a Big Sur Marathon and its other races ever. So that's a good sign, is that we're doing something right and that we never take it for granted, because we know, just like this, things can change. And
Right.
it's wonderful to see people having the confidence and the health and the interest to embrace their inner athlete and get out and explore areas on foot or on bike, and being able to be part of sharing a wonderful opportunity to participate in any of our events, and giving some thought on how we can expand our event offerings that impact the Monterey Peninsula. Maybe not so much an international perspective or national perspective, but local events that either that are all comers meets, things that are happening at elementary schools, things along those lines. It's been fantastic. I have a meeting tomorrow. I'm going in the office to talk specifically about that and our youth programming for 2024. So super exciting stuff. It does not feel like work, and it's a good place to be in when you have found your passion and it's your profession, because there are a lot of us who are working and we're doing it out of necessity. And when you
Yep.
have the opportunity to embrace your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And again, that opportunity would not have, I would not be afforded that opportunity without Coach Jay and some other key individuals in my life. But Coach Jay is certainly right there. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this role and some of the behind the scenes stuff.
My pleasure. And again, you're giving me more credit than necessary. They folks, they specifically targeted him. Essentially, basically said they would not take no for an answer. Um, Obviously we talked about this and stuff like that. It's a perfect match. You're the perfect person for that role.
Thank you.
On many different levels, especially the fact that the most thing that I'm most excited about is the fact that you're impacting the youth of our region, future um, of our world, right? And that, to me, just knowing you as a person, is tremendous. And the value that you get out of that and the relationships you'll build will just continue to exponentially grow, which, is why you do what you do and why I do what I do. Speaking of that, just a little side note, selfishly for me, this coming Sunday, we didn't talk about this in the pregame warm up, but out here, kind of similar to what you're doing here, is there's a lack of resources of my coaching, sort of level out here. There's a lot of isolated silos of coaches and super talented athletes out here. Chelsea Sodaro, naming one, obviously former Ironman world champion Kona 2 years ago, ran her way from like 19th to 6th this past year in Kona. Phenomenal athlete. She's a Reno resident. She's got a little one here and all that stuff. But there's no infrastructure for some really talented kids that I've taken on the responsibility for helping mentor them, that are doing running, cross country, track. But in between that, they're also competing at the highest levels in terms of junior elite triathlons, right? Draft legal and things of that nature. But as of this Sunday, doing the official launch of a youth development program underneath the PacWest Endurance brand. We'll be
Congratulations.
kicking that off at noon at
Outstanding.
the Collin Athletic Club, which is where my wife and I are members. So we've got an opportunity with the general manager to not only host the informational meeting from noon to 1:30 to get parents and kids there to learn more about what the vision of the program would be. It's not my program. I'm just going to be the head coach. It's the parents, it's the kids, and everybody, other peer coaches that I'm getting involved, building a coalition of supporters of swim coaches, cycle coaches, run coaches. So that's not just me. I'm just kind of helping lead the charge. And then we're going to jump in the pool there, outdoor pool, mind you. 12 to 1:30 for the informational meeting. Then from 2 to 3, we're in the pool, and then I'll get the kids out to do a 30-minute base run, at least initially. And we'll add some complexities of
that's
that as the
great.
season goes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all happening on my side. So trying to match your influence on youth down where you're at. And then I'm trying to do this somewhat similar thing here in the Reno Tahoe area, which is super exciting. So, again, we're both trying to make our mark in the world, right, Coach?
Yes, and to our listeners, I want both of you, I want all of you to understand, both Jay and I, we get this. And Coach Jay asked me early in this conversation, hey, how was Houston? And I talked about the race experience, but we really haven't talked about our own race journeys because, we're Jay and I are going to do our fair share of running events, triathlons, et cetera, et cetera. But we're at a stage in our life and our professional careers where we're just looking to pay it forward. And we have
100%.
loved the art of coaching, but also helping others, youth or other coaches, um, fine tune their love of the craft and being engaged in aspects. So exponentially, we can impact others. And it's very satisfying to be in this space, and less concerned or braggadocious about, well, what's your next race? What are you gonna do? What's the PR? What's the focus? Yes, Coach Jay and I are competitive. Okay. And you best believe in the Taj 100, we're gonna be going head to head without question. But our bigger picture focus is how we can help others along their own journey as individual athletes with physical and mental health, and then those individuals who are aspiring to be coaches or coaches who are established and looking to have a greater presence, their opportunity to fine tune their craft, maybe looking to monetize and grow their business professionally. We relish the fact of being able to leverage our experience in
Yep.
those spaces.
Yeah, which is a perfect segue to talk about. As again, we're trying to keep these podcasts at a reasonable duration, but I have in my notes here, it's a great segue to talk about the other, uh, how do you describe this, passionate love project, passion project, is I think how you describe it, is which is your Coaches of Color initiative. It sounds like there's some really exciting activity that's going on there. Let's just kind of briefly talk about that because I think that's a perfect segue into that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Coach. Yes, the Coaches of Color Initiative was the brainchild of acclaimed author and endurance athlete Matt Fitzgerald. It's someone who's had a tremendous and profound impact on my life. And back in
Many.
2021, when there was so much stuff going on, in the midst of COVID, and then all the civil frustration in regards to um, racial tensions and where some unfortunate situations and happenings with loss of life,
Yep.
um, that involve law enforcement in some cases, quite frankly. And this is coming from someone whose father was a police officer in the state of Nevada, by the way. Um, and Coach Matt said, you know what? I just can't be someone in giving lip service and being sympathetic via social media. I want to take a more active role, a more tangible role. And what can I do to kind of even the playing field and to provide resources, insight, and access to people of color who might be interested in becoming an endurance athletes, where youth who are looking to potentially get involved in some type of sport
Yep.
versus being out on the streets or being in front of a smartphone or gaming all day, maybe they might feel that they can relate to that person who has similar experiences. So, Coach Matt and I had a conversation in mid 2021, and it went from idea to fruition. We formed a 501c3 as part of the 80/20 endurance platform, formerly, currently the Coaches of Color Initiative, with the premise as we were launching in January of 2022, a scholarship or an apprenticeship with $1,000 a month stipend, and taking somebody who was interested in growing their understanding and a potential sustainable profession as an endurance athlete and as an endurance coach. And it's
Right.
been fantastic. We've had multiple apprentices go through the program, and one of them, Coach Jessica, has had real success in being a full-time coach and is now on our board of directors. So to see it go full circle, and we're making some changes to the platform to where we can get multiple apprentices going through the program concurrently versus one annually. This past year in 2023, we had three apprentices going through the program in 9 month stints, still getting the $1,000 a month stipend, which has been fantastic. So incredibly rewarding. More to come on it. We recently appointed one of our advisory members as the executive director, and she's doing fantastic things. She's ahead of Ball State track and field and cross country, Coach Angelina Ramos, who by way of Florida State graduate,
Mm.
she's just crushing it. And stay tuned for more happenings as we will extend the enrollment period for interested parties as part of the next round of apprentices.
Yeah, I love it. And it's great for those that are on the YouTube podcast here versus the Apple podcast audio only. I'm sharing the website here. It's the 80, the number 8020, so 8020foundation.org. You'll see the Coaches of Color initiative in here. Obviously, board of directors, you see yours truly, Coach B, right there, looking handsome as ever, and then the board of directors. But yeah, super impressive. If there's an audience member, maybe, doesn't necessarily have to be young, but there's a spark that Coach B and I had, me fairly early, I guess, earlier than you. I think your spark kind of happened a little bit in terms of age, right? A little bit later than I did. Mine was in my late 20s, post collegiate, post having a baby. I'm like, okay, I got to get back into this thing. And then, like, well, how do I get more involved? And suddenly, because of the influence of my legendary high school coach out of Santa Teresa High School, Coach Rich Wade, who just recently passed this past year, and I had a chance to speak emotionally at his celebration of life this past September or so, whenever that was, in the fall. But the impact in of wanting to extend it forward, give forward, be influencing and helping those that are interested in that, and you sort of fit the criteria of what this initiative is about. Coach B, I mean, highly encourage them to inquire and learn more about it. Right?
Yes, and well, thank you for sharing it. And again, condolences for your
Appreciate
high
it.
school coach. Like you said, legendary here
Yep.
in Northern California, San Jose Bay Area.
Yep.
I ask our listeners to take a moment and think the impact what parents, grandparents, let's see here, a teacher, educator has had on you, and a coach has had on you. Those influence have been profound, especially from a coaching perspective. When you've had a good coach and you can still hear those life lessons, and when you've had a coach that maybe wasn't that good. Okay. Um, so if you feel you have a calling and you want to pay it forward, becoming a coach is a great way to do that. And we can help you fine tune your messaging, give you what has worked for us. And that's where Coach Jay has been very valuable to me in what not to do to avoid stubbing your toe or hitting your head on areas where you may feel you want to spin your wheels.
Yeah.
Having a mentor and a think tank and a resource to help you navigate that journey, especially when you may be dealing with some bouts of imposter syndrome, like I did. Got into running later in life, became a running coach, and I didn't run in school.
Yep.
I wasn't a competitive runner, but getting resources and learning the craft, appreciating the craft, and understanding that if you don't have the answer, let the athlete know that we can go and find that answer, and also have access to other coaches that are more than willing to share. And sometimes we are too we let our ego get in the way and don't want to ask for help or seek direction on those coaches that are willing to share. We don't always take advantage of their willingness to share.
Yep.
So that's not the case with Coach J or Coach B and with the Coaches of Color initiative.
Yeah, I love it. So, I mean, again, we kind of covered a lot of subjects here. The initial theme of this was, how do we come out of the holidays and reignite the fire to get us back into a regimen here? But I think that Coaches of Color initiative, what you guys are doing, you and Matt and the team, really important. Excited to see, the number of people that have gotten involved. Maybe at some point, like we talked about on the initial episode together of maybe getting Matt not only on this call, but some of those recipients and seeing how their journey is going. I think that would be really cool,
Oh,
potentially for
absolutely. Yeah,
some of
thank
the
you for that.
audience. Yeah, I
Yes.
think that some of the audience might get a lot out of that, especially the ones that are like, I don't know, I have this calling, I have this itch, as you used to say to me. I just had this itch, coach, that it was time for me to make that fundamental, it was a significant change in career, right? And yet I think that was hands down, whether I had a large influence on that or even a small influence on it, was the right decision because
Thank you.
people love you, coach. They respect you. You've been successful at it, and you will continue to do that for many years to come.
Yeah, it's
So,
been life changing, it, and you gave me the confidence that I could take the steps
yep,
and trust the process. And even if I didn't have all the answers or could see the how to navigate that journey, that I had
yeah.
somebody who had driven those roads on multiple occasions, effectively, with passion, and I couldn't be more grateful. So
Truth is, I said you're ready to go, and then he took off, and then he left me. He left me behind. He left me in the
not the
dust.
case,
Everybody,
team.
I
Consider.
didn't even look back. No, on that note, I think that's a great segue to kind of wrap things up, put a bow on it. Many more opportunities. I think you and I need to co-host some of these events, not just you and I. Let's get some other people involved here, Coach. So I'm kind of throwing that over to you to kind of massage through, whether it's Matt or somebody else. But I think love having you, love being your presence, love bantering back and forth. Let's try to bring some other other talented people in here. I was going to say victims, but that's not the right thing. Let's get some more other talented people in here and pick their brains and do that as a tag team. If you're
Yeah,
willing to do that, I would love to do that with you.
absolutely. We will make that happen in 2024. Right?
Outstanding. All right, my friend, audience, hopefully you got a little bit, as I like to say, some nuggets of knowledge out of this. The most important thing is, February 1st is right around the corner. Register Taji 100, get on a team, create a team, contribute donations to a great cause. If you're able to do that, large or small, but most importantly, let's get out there. Let's re-stoke the fire, get back in, laser focused on your training. Now's the time to do that. The holidays are over, folks, and now's the time to do that. Let's eat well, let's sleep well, let's do all the things that are necessary to live that healthy, active lifestyle that I've been trying to promote for the last 20 plus, I don't know, 24 years of Pac West. I don't even know what it is anymore. 22 years of Pac West. Let's get out there and do it, folks. On that note, anything else? One final opportunity to say something, Coach. Anything else you want to add?
Yes, team. With whatever you do, find the joy in the journey. Okay. What sage advice that Coach Jay has given me that continues to pay off day after day. So find the joy and enjoy the process.
Love it. On that note, everybody, thank you for joining us on the latest edition of the Endurance Life 360. Peace out, everybody.